On November 12, 2019, Disney launched Disney Plus, a new and exciting streaming service with over 300 titles. I decided that I had to commit myself to watching every single thing on this platform, including movies, television shows, animated films, shorts. I'm asking you to go on this journey with me through nostalgia and the past to see if we can see the future of content on the internet. This is Exploring Disney Plus.
People always seem to remember the teen films from the 80s. From John Hughes to Cameron Crowe, everyone holds these films to a standard some think to never be matched. But there was the 90s teen boom. Sure, it didn't have as many classics. We would have to wait for gems like Clueless or Can't Hardly Wait. But in the middle of all this, before movies like Superbad exploded onto the scene and once again updated the genre for current generations, we had a perfect little teen flick that captures almost all of the charm of living in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Of course, I'm talking about 10 Things I Hate About You, a movie that we look back on now and go, holy shit, that's Heath Ledger, that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that's Julia Stiles. Inspired by the Shakespeare comedy The Taming of the Shrew, 10 Things I Hate About You is sharply written and better directed than it has any right to be. A lot of the formula here was used in several Freddie Prinze Jr. movies. And outside of the hacky sack scene in She's All That, rumored to be written by M. Night Shyamalan, the FPJ stuff hasn't aged the best. In other words, it's no Varsity Blues. So what's the premise? A couple of guys want to date Julia Stiles' younger sister, but their father's made a rule that she can't date until her older sister finds someone for herself. The play here is that the father is banking on the sister not being interested in anyone for a long time, but the movie's asshole character pays Heath Ledger to win Stiles over. And honestly, who isn't going to get won over by that face? Thus begins our cat and mouse game between the two leads. Of course, Ledger actually falls for the girl. We've seen all of this before. What separates this movie is the casting. Stiles slowly grows into a role, becoming more interesting as the movie goes. Ledger just oozes charisma in every scene that he's in, and writing the accent into the screenplay was a clever idea. Levitt and his friend Michael, played by David Krumholtz, are a great comedic duo that help keep things light. Junger does fine work here as the director. This is a good-looking movie. It made $53 million on a budget of $16 million, and overall got pretty good reviews. The crazy thing is that this movie never became forgotten. On IMDb it has a rating of 7.3 with over 250,000 votes. Why has it lasted? I think it's because outside of structure it doesn't actually take much from the original Shakespeare text. This movie is brimming with a personality of its own, one shaped by the time in which it was made. Some movies are able to capture a moment. It's the magic of the camera. Whoever made it happen, putting all of these people together just creates something wonderful here, and they all do fantastic work. There's so much talent here that there's never a dull moment in this whole movie, and it has a forgiving runtime of 100 minutes. It kind of makes me miss movies not being 2.5 hours. The soundtrack was done by the band Letters to Cleo, who help in giving it its light, relaxing tone. I had no idea this was a Disney movie, so I was pleasantly surprised when I saw this on Disney Plus. I know a lot of people who rewatch this movie all the time, but hopefully this inspires new generations to discover it. I just like what this movie says. You know, romance can be pretty complicated, perhaps even more so when one is young and lacks experience. It's a roller coaster that isn't always easy. You can pretend to be someone else for a while, the best version of you, but eventually the flaws are going to come out, and within those flaws you can see the beauty of someone. You can hate a lot about someone else, but that doesn't mean that you can't love them. In other words, sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind. With its commentary on feminism, parental norms, class, and social taboos, there's still a lot of food for thought to be found in 10 Things I Hate About You. If anything else, it's nice to look back on the range of a young Ledger. I like seeing him this way. He looks really happy to be in this movie. So check it out.
Best to understand, dear, but you're still mystified, and I wanna know why I pick myself up off the ground to have you knock me back down again and again.